Welcome in to the Just Hone In podcast, episode 7, with your host, Justin, and a very, 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 very special guest, the smiling, the giggly, the rave goer, Lucas Daly. Come on now.
Give
Bring
us
it
a
up.
quick
A pleasure to
introduction.
be here.
Welcome.
Been watching every week, just been trying to get my time on here. I'm hyped for a good episode.
Hey,
Well,
we
the
value
time is now. The
time is
time
now.
is
We
now.
value every listener, Lucas.
Mhm.
We value you the most right now because of recency bias. Thanks for joining the pod. We got quite the loaded pod today, so let's dive right in. We're gonna start with some
Grab your popcorn. Grab your soda
yeah.
pop.
Put the feet up.
Down.
Put the feet
Put the
up.
feet up.
Unless you're at
Relax.
work listening to this, maybe still put your feet up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I put my feet up all the time at work. It's nice. We're gonna start with some news going around the NFL. Dak Prescott last week after our episode 6 of the podcast ruled out for the rest of the year, most likely. Go on to undergo surgery on his leg. Lucas, as an owner of Dak Prescott, how does this make you feel?
Doesn't feel great. He was already kind of struggling. The Cowboys, I feel like, just have been marred in dysfunction all season. Like Michael Parsons was out and just came back. CeeDee Lamb has been kind of inconsistent. They have no run game, and Dak, I feel like, kind of overrated. I had him on my fantasy team last year, and he was actually popping off. And I was like, oh, I got to ride the spiritual connection, as a wise Adam Honer would say. But the connection was not meant to be 2 years in a row. So now riding with my boy Geno Smith. But yeah, I'm really curious if they're going to give Trey Lance a chance at some point. I feel like at this point, like, why not? Like, Cooper Rush is just like your basic backup, and like they're already kind of cooked for the season. Like, Eagles are popping off, Commanders are popping off, so like, and then the wild card's too crowded for them to get back into anything. So kind of be interested to see Trey Lance get into something, and then off season, if they go into panic mode, if they like trade Parsons, maybe. I've like heard some rumblings, but overall, I feel like Jerry Jones is gonna find a way to make it even worse because he's
Always does.
owner. Just decides to piss off his stars and then has to pay them even more than he probably needed to because he waits too long. But we will see.
We will see.
Yeah, Lucas, I definitely agree with a lot of the points you said. I think like the Cowboys have just like missed their mark this year. I think if they're in like a less competitive division, I think they could have had a chance before Dak got hurt. I think the Eagles and Commanders are too good even with Dak playing. So then even with Dak out, I think it's just a wash for the Cowboys. And I was watching like at the end of the Cowboys game this week, they did put in Trey Lance for a couple drives. I think I don't know how many it was, but I did see him in the game. So it's good to get him reps, and he's a high potential player because I feel like Cooper Rush has got a ceiling and he's kind of close to that, but Trey Lance still has a lot of football to play and a lot to prove. So this could definitely be a big spot for him where he can really prove himself and, maybe make himself more valuable to a different team next year. So if I'm Trey Lance, I'm going to try to take this opportunity the best I can. But I think with Dak out, the Cowboys are just in a tough position right now. They're not making the playoffs at all.
Yeah. Trey Lance did come in at the end of that game. He threw an interception. He missed a player on a very routine, tight end, kind of takes a few steps, does a little out route. He missed him. I don't know if he threw it over his head or just out in front, but missed that as well. It will be interesting to see. I mean, they're 3-7 right now. So, and there's a lot of teams at like 2-7, 3-7, or like 3-8, depending on if there's bye weeks. So it'll be interesting to see how the draft order plays out and what that, if you're the Cowboys, you might as well throw Trey Lance out there. He probably will lose you games, but at least you see what you have, and if you lose, you get a good draft pick.
I think there's many worse teams though. I don't know if the Cowboys are on like the the bottom seller level because there's some pretty stinky teams in the league where
Yeah.
the Cowboys are better
What
than
stinky
them. So
teams.
yeah, so I mean, if I'm the Cowboys, I don't think the goal is to win, but like, you know, you're not going to tank. I don't think you're going to be as bad as these other teams. So I think it's just good to throw out what you have and see if you have any potential under Trey Lance. And you're not going to keep him if he plays well, so you might as well get some value out of him if he ends up performing. But don't perform like last week, apparently, because it wasn't very good.
Yeah, not very good. And it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the fantasy season plays out for, you know, the number 2 overall pick in our fantasy draft, CeeDee Lamb. Jake Ferguson, who's been pretty reliable throughout the course of the season, only had 4 fantasy points last week. And then Rico Dowdle, as soon as he's kind of hitting his stride.
Lucas, did you have a guy that you were playing over Dak, or was Dak your guy?
You know, I was kind of just mixing between like Dak and Gino, whoever had a better matchup.
Oh, Gino,
And then
that's right.
I had to start freaking Daniel Jones this past week because Gino was on a bye. We know how that went. So.
Well, you got a pretty good rest of your team, Lucas, so I'm not too upset for you. There should be a little weakness in everybody's lineup, right? Moving on to some players returning from injury or potentially returning from injury. Last week, Christian McCaffrey returned to the 49ers. They said they're going to ease him in, only play a few snaps here, a few snaps there. He got a lot of work, or he got a majority of the running back work in the 49ers backfield. Jordan Mason barely touched the ball. Isaac Guerrero maybe had like 1 carry. It's exciting to see McCaffrey come back after such a long stint out of the season with the Achilles arthritis or tendonitis, whatever it is. And the Niners need him going into the playoff push. Any thoughts?
Go ahead, Lucas. I want to hear your thoughts about this.
I would say the Niners have just come in weird all year. Like, even with McCaffrey coming back, we still barely beat a beat-up Bucs team. And I don't know. Niners defense just isn't the same. Like, other than Trent Williams, I feel like isn't like a whole lot of protection on that line. And I still believe in Brock Purdy. Kittle and Debo are star players, and McCaffrey, once he gets fully loaded, is the most versatile running back in football. But the NFC just actually looks surprisingly loaded. Like, the Lions are still cooking. The Commanders, Eagles, like we said, are both cooking. Even some prize teams like the Vikings, they won with Sam Darnold throwing 3 picks in the end zone this week. So, and even the Cardinals are just look really scrappy. So I still don't even. I hope they make the playoffs. I have my mom's a huge Bay Area sports fan. And a lot of the boys in our group, same thing, big Niner fans. So I hope they make a run. And once you get the playoffs, anything's possible. But even with McCaffrey back, I still don't see this same dominant team that they had last year.
I mean, you're right about that. I think they were definitely stronger last year with making that Super Bowl run compared to this year. But I mean, we just kind of haven't seen it all been put together yet, and that was kind of the first glimpse of it, just kind of getting back into the flow. And it's been a tough year for the Niners because things just haven't really gone their way. They've lost some divisional games, and they've lost a couple players. They got Ayuk out for the season. They got a couple other players banged up. So I think the goal for the Niners is don't worry about the record, just win the division. I think, it's the NFC West is kind of up for grabs for anybody. It's a really tight race. So if you're the Niners, you just got to focus on winning your division games and winning that, winning that division title, and just worry about the playoffs when you get there. Because if you win the division title, then your team will be ready. And I think the Niners can, they can definitely make a run again. I think, I don't know, Justin, about your opinions about Shanahan, but I definitely have a feeling that he kind of, doesn't really he's not very gutsy. He's more conservative, especially in tough situations. So you kind of need that to kind of change, hopefully. But I mean, performance-wise, the Niners are solid in the playoffs. So if they can win the division, I wouldn't be surprised to mean another run. I know it hasn't been as good as last year, but you never know with the playoffs coming up.
Yeah, it'll be tight going down the stretch in the NFC West. Cardinals are currently the division leader at 6-4. They won the first game against the Niners, so they already have that tiebreaker as it is now. What is good for the Niners is that they play each of the division opponents once more the rest of the season. They'll play the Seahawks, they'll play the Cardinals, and they'll play the Rams. They need to obviously beat all three of those teams, because otherwise, if they lose to the Rams and Cardinals, they lose the tiebreaker to both of them. And if they lose to the Seahawks, I don't know what the tiebreaker after that is. It might just be like NFC play, which maybe the Niners win. But yeah, and I do agree about Shanahan. I mean, the Niners are notoriously known for blowing fourth quarter leads because, for whatever reason, the play calling gets way more conservative when we're up, and like we don't want to make any turnovers. So on third down, instead of passing, we may run it, or we may just throw like a screen pass, and we don't get the first down. It definitely needs to be a little bit more aggressive, especially later in games. I mean, you don't have to overdo it, but we should not be playing first and second down, and waiting for third down to be like our down. You know what I mean? Like waiting for third down to be our first down. No, like it's third down. We need the first down. You got to kind of work the way into it. Because I see that all the time. I feel like it's 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 10 for the Niners late in the game, and they don't convert. They give the ball back, and the team's able to go and run. Because then you play conservative defense. They just get down the field. They'll get a field goal or a touchdown, and that's how it typically goes. So we'll see. I mean, having McCaffrey back is nice. Jawan Jennings has played amazing when he's out on the field. He's been a clutch player. Like on third downs, he's always getting it. Kittle's playing really well. Debo's Debo.
Justin, I do want to talk about Debo real quick and a kind of a situation that happened this weekend. It was a tough day for the Niners special teams. Jake Moody missed 3 field goals.
It's been a tough year for the Niners special teams.
Yeah,
We've had 3 kickers. We've had 3 kickers.
But did you see what Debo did after the 3rd missed kick?
Yeah, he hit the long snapper in the neck.
Yeah, put his hands around his neck and got in his face. I mean, I want to hear your guys' thoughts about that, because it was pretty surprising when I saw it. You don't ever really see that very often, especially because it's a very weird. I feel like football teams' dynamic with their special teams is really weird, because the offensive players and defensive players do like most of the work, but the special teams score the points. So I just kind of want to hear your guys' thoughts about that kind of situation. With is that something that a player should be doing? Is that a way you need? Your captain on the team, is that the way you should approach a situation like that? Or do you think he's in the right here? I want to hear your guys' thoughts about that.
I feel like Debo's always been like pretty bold, but I'm of the mindset that in general, like you never should leave like any sort of like conflict or frustration like out for the public eye to see. Like if you're really pissed off and frustrated, like take care of it in the locker room, like take care of it in practice. Like the last thing the Niners or any team needs is people to see that scrutinizing them when team of the Niners has already been underachieving all season, and then that's just like putting even more negative spotlight. Like I feel it just brings it at the wrong time attention. That kind of takes away from CMC looks healthy. Niners still grinded out a win despite all those misses, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's like laying hands on like one of your teammates when it's like, okay, they're struggling. It sounds like anything super that we know of was like super disrespectful that was said. Like unless there's just like some really bad comment that the long snapper said to Debo. I don't know. That's my take.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously not like he shouldn't have done it. I get why he did it. He's frustrated that Jake Moody missed 3 field goals. Or 2 or 3, whatever the number was.
They wouldn't have been in that situation with the close game, I think, if you made those kicks. So that's definitely frustrating from his end.
Yeah, it's frustrating, but I would say like I mean, a lot of the special teams players, they get a lot of hate, right? Like if you miss a field goal, fans hate you, right? Like,
You're also
come on.
like when you miss field goals, your job is on the line as well. It's very high pressure.
Yeah. But I would say, like, on all those drives where Jake Moody ended up missing the field goal, the Niners offense had like big plays to get them to that spot to where they're going to be kicking the field goal. And then they just stalled. Like they have a big play and then they can't do anything after that. And so I would be frustrated at Debo. I'm like, dude, come on. Like you got to get me closer, or like the offense should be better. And that's been the story for the Niners all season is they've been able to drive down the length of the field, but not been able to convert for touchdowns, especially in the red zone. Their efficiency is terrible. Whereas last year, their efficiency was crazy good. I mean, Christian McCaffrey had damn near 20, if not more than 20 touchdowns. So it'll be interesting to see what happens as the season goes on. I think, it was just heat of the moment. Like it was his third missed field goal. You got to be kidding me. Like if you make those, there's no stress at the end of that game. I was watching with my dad and I was like going, ballistic. I'm like, dude, how, like every single time. And one of them was really bad, like an absolute shank. But yeah, I mean, Debo shouldn't have done it. I think Lucas is right. Should be in the locker room. But I understand why he did it. I mean, I'd be pissed. It's 3 points can stack up on each other. They would have had 9 extra points on the board. So moving on, we love to talk about our Niners, but we got to move. We got to
get out of here.
We got to get on with the rest of the pod. Nico Collins was questionable to come back last week, and our boy Troy had a little incident with that. Should be returning, is expected to return this week, and I think the Texans need him. I mean, they played the Detroit Lions this last week. They were great with Nico. CJ Stroud was great with Nico. They played the Detroit Lions. They were up more than 15 points on the Detroit Lions. Jared Goff had 5 interceptions, and the Texans managed to blow the lead and lose. They need Nico back. They're going to win their division easy because they got the Colts, Jacksonville, and the Titans. So there's no worry there, but you got to make your playoff push, and I think Nico will help them do that. Lucas, any thoughts?
I mean, Nico was, I'm pretty sure, leading the league in receiving yards when he got hurt.
Yeah. And he's missed the past, 5 weeks, 6 weeks. He's still wide receiver, I think 17 in fantasy. I mean, let me fact check that, but yeah, he's crazy good.
I believe it. I mean, he was probably wide receiver 1 or close to it when in fantasy points too. But I know, like in terms of his pure yards, he was just putting.
Okay, I was wrong. Wide receiver 24, but still, that's pretty solid.
That's with only half of like the games played. But
he played in 5 games and he's missed 5 games. So
wow.
And in that 5th game, he only played like the first quarter. So it's pretty insane.
But yeah, I mean,
I think Nico's a league winner for sure.
Well,
I have him in another league.
Not with Troy, but maybe on other
ones. If you've been hanging on a playoff spot in one of your leagues, you got Nico, you're celebrating right now.
Yeah, no, I'm just waiting for him to come back. Hopefully he plays this week. I was fortunate enough in the league that I was in, I decided to sit him. I actually just didn't realize that he was even questionable. I thought he was just going to be out. So I had him on the bench anyways, so it kind of worked out for me. But I mean, if you're the Texans, like Nico's your best receiver, regardless who's healthy or not, with Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell. Nico's number 1. So if you're a fantasy owner, you're happy. If you're a Texans fan, you're happy. Nico's a great player, and I think he's going to be winning some championships here, especially if you've built your team without Nico and you've got some good pieces, and now you put Nico in the lineup, then you've got a solid team going. I think you can definitely be a league winner. I'm sorry, Lucas. I didn't know if you were done with your thought earlier, but
I thought just from a football perspective too. Like, I don't know the exact stats, but I've just like seen some numbers for CJ with and without Nico in the lineup. and it's a drastic drop off. And if you're a Texans fan right now, you are excited that your team can be more exciting again, because I feel like the Texans have kind of been like a slog to watch. Like the explosive element's been missing. They're able to, Joe Mixon's having a great year, but like they've been able to clog the boxes more, and the plug his run lanes. Tank Dell is like, a good splashy player, but he's not a consistent possession guy. And with Diggs out too, like it's been tough. And there's just, I know there was one game where like there was only like 3 guys who like got targets. I don't even know who the other guys that are getting targets are in that offense other than Dell and Mixon right now. But with Collins, and if he gets ramped up by the time the football playoffs start, because like you said, Texans are still going to get their division, still going to get their bag. They might not be a high seed because Bills and Chiefs are both cooking pretty hard. But I feel like fully healthy Collins could still give the Texans a chance to make a sleeper run in the playoffs. Absolutely. I'm tired of the Chiefs.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that I don't think they win the Super Bowl or anything, but I definitely think they can make an upset in the first or second round. So I mean, I'm rooting for them. If they play the Chiefs, that would be lovely. Because I think like as the football playoffs work, right? The number 1 seed will get the bye, and then you have your wild cards, and then the 1 seed will play the remaining, lowest seed. So if you assume that the 2 and 3 seed, which looks like it'll be the Bills and the Ravens, if you assume they win round 1, then you have the Chiefs versus the Texans. Now I love and the Texans win round 1 because they'll be the 4 seed with the division win. If they win, then you have the Chiefs Texans, and I'm rooting for the Texans there. And
I can agree with that.
whoever the Texans play, if the Texans lose to whoever they play in the first round, I hope they win there too. What will be interesting is slightly backtracking.
Hey, maybe the Patriots, Lucas. Maybe the Patriots.
Right. Drake May leading the team to victory.
Yeah, go undefeated for the rest of the season. How's that sound?
Dude, I
don't think they even make the playoffs if they go undefeated the rest of the season.
Are they eliminated?
Like
Is it
the
next to their name in the standings? If not, don't rule them out.
But yeah, I mean, the Drake May was the straw that brought the camel's back for the Bears with their OC getting fired. So
yeah. By the way, great freaking transition there, Lucas. Great transition. The Bears did indeed fire their offensive coordinator this week. The Bears were 4-2 going into their bye week at bye week 7. They have since lost 3 straight, I believe. So I think they're 4-5 now. Fire their offensive coordinator. I mean, you have players like Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Cole Kmet, DeAndre Swift. The only good one out of that group really has been DeAndre Swift, and he has some up and down weeks as well. So you would think with an offense like that, the Bears could produce. You have the number 1 QB selected in the draft, and they can't seem to figure it out, so they fire their offensive coordinator. And what do you think the Bears' outlook is the rest of the season?
Well, I find the firing kind of odd, because with the Bears drafting Caleb Williams this year, it was definitely kind of like the start of like their new era. Like, this is a new era of Bears football. We have our head coach Eberflus. We got our OC. Like, we have everything lined up. And I was like kind of confused because like when you're building Caleb up, like you're really looking at like these relationships between like Caleb and the head coach, Caleb and the OC, and you kind of expect them to make sure they have the right choice of OC, like when Caleb starts. So, they know they have the right guy. But I think this firing tells us there's something not clicking between, I think, Caleb specifically, because Caleb's the reason that this offense isn't as high as it should be, because there's so many good options on the Bears. There's so many good weapons that they have, and they're underperforming with what they have. I think, it's Caleb and that OC's not really having a great relationship. And it's not really going in the direction that they want. So I think if it's not going well, you got to cut bait as fast as you can. I think that's what the Bears did. So I think I don't know who they're going to have replace this season, but I think you really got to have an extensive search going into next season. So you make sure you have the right guy that's going to help develop Caleb into that, quarterback that you want as your franchise guy.
Yeah, especially because we've seen with other quarterbacks that when you have a different OC every year and you just are still trying to figure it out, that just stunts their development so much. And Caleb's such a high ceiling guy. I still believe in him. And, there's very few first rounders that come out the gate super, super hot. Like this year it's been Jaden. Last year it was Stroud. But other than that, maybe one rookie top pick every year kind of just comes out and looks like the man from day one. But most rookie quarterbacks aren't coming out and just dominating right away. So yeah, and the Bears are kind of a dysfunctional franchise too. So I feel like we'll see if their head coach is out the door by the end of the year. I wouldn't be surprised, but especially because I have a bye week. That's when you play your worst football. That's a bad vibes, red flags all around.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see. I think they definitely fire Eberflus at the end of the year, and it is interesting because last year you said Stroud was the guy who played well, right? This year it's Jaden Daniels. The number 2 pick in the NFL draft seems to be working itself out versus Bryce Young. Last year was number 1, not that good. This year it's Caleb Williams, and Bryce Young and Caleb Williams have very similar stat lines from week 1 to now at the same time of last year, week 1 to now. One thing is Caleb Williams has taken a lot more sacks than Bryce Young. His offensive line is pretty poor, so maybe that is not helping him out too much. But I think they fire Eberflus, and it would be interesting to see if they go after a guy like Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. You think that guy could put it together for the Bears, but like you said, the Bears dysfunctional franchise. Ben Johnson has come out and said, people thought he was going to jump ship this last year to go get a head coaching opportunity. Waited, stayed with the Lions. He had offers from the Panthers and other teams. He says he's wanting to wait for the perfect situation. He doesn't want to just go to a team that's not set up for success. Because oftentimes when you get a new head coach, and you go to a bad team, the head coach can only do so much. But yes, the responsibility falls on him at the end of the day, him and typically the quarterback. But if you don't have a good team, right, those are the guys who actually play. If they can't do it, it kind of hurts you. So it'll be interesting to see if Ben Johnson would take a chance on an organization like the Bears, even though it's pretty dysfunctional and maybe it's just they have a lot of bad luck. If I were Ben Johnson, I'd stay with the Lions.
I mean, it depends on the pay. I think the Bears are one of those teams where it is a good situation compared to some of the other teams that you mentioned where you got offers from. I think that's gonna be one of the best offers you're gonna get, and the Bears are on the rise. It's not like they're
same division too.
Yeah, I mean the team well. If the money's right, and I think the Bears is a good move for him. I know it's tough leaving the Lions, but I mean it's life-changing when you become a head coach. So I think he should definitely consider that opportunity if it comes up.
Time will tell. I feel like Ben will probably be, if he decides he's actually down to be a head coach, he might be the number 1 target.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100% he will, considering the Lions offense, aside from this last week where they threw 5 interceptions, but still managed to win. And he's with the Lions. It'll be interesting. The Lions are definitely a contender this year, right? They're the 1 seed in the NFC. If they win the Super Bowl, which I think they have a chance to do, does he leave? Does he stay? We'll see. I mean, even if you look at the Chiefs, they won the Super Bowl the past 2 years, and they've retained their offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator both years in Matt Nagy and Steve Spagnuolo. I feel like if you're on a Super Bowl team, why leave? That's just me. But you're right. Head coaching opportunity is huge. Chicago's not that far from Detroit. so you're not making a crazy move. We'll see what happens. This is quite the long news segment, but last bit of news, we'll touch on it briefly. The Colts decided to go back to Anthony Richardson for the starting quarterback. They went to Joe Flacco, and the coach Shane Steichen came out and said, "We're going with Joe Flacco for the rest of the season." And that was a week after he said, "We're sticking with Anthony Richardson." And now going back to Anthony Richardson, probably for the rest of the season. I don't like the move because I have Josh Downs in fantasy, but I think it's a good move for the Colts. You know, you're probably not in playoff contention. You might as well put the guy in that you drafted to be your franchise quarterback, and maybe he has a Bryce Young type of turnaround. Bryce Young got benched, came back, and playing a lot better. So we'll see.
Yeah, I hope that's it's a wake up call for him when he grows a pair. He doesn't want to get out of the game. Like, no more of that, please. You can't. I hope you need to learn a lesson as a young quarterback, and now it's his time. And I mean, dude, like, he's a good quarterback. Like, look at the beginning of last season when he was a rookie. Like, he was really good. Like, he just needs to find that again. He has the potential that's there. He just needs to put it together and figure it out mentally. Because I feel like this might be more of a mental problem than an actual playing problem.
And the Colts just need to just get easier plays for him. It's either like he's just bombing it downfield or like running for his life, and then some of these intermediate throws he's like not making consistently. But I feel like they're not setting him up for just some like high percentage plays. And you have like some decent weapons. Taylor's fully healthy. Downs looks really good. Pittman's been kind of weird, but like he still has been good in the past. And like you said, since the Colts are probably not a contender, and Flacco hasn't looked like anything special this past few weeks. So like, I just gotta see what you have. Been such a weird time for some of these quarterbacks. I feel like there's been like more busts than you'd expect, or the potential busts, at least. Maybe Richardson turns it around, but like if he busts out, if Young. We'll see. Maybe the bench for like 2 or 3 weeks and then bring it back is like the ultimate strat. If Young keeps playing well, Richardson starts popping off. So might be a new strategy for coaches. They need to like give their young guys a reset.
Yeah, I think you're right, Lucas. Like the Colts, whenever you see Anthony Richardson play, he's either throwing an absolute bomb down the field, which is not a high percentage throw. He is very inaccurate. So, like, I don't know if the intermediate routes, they probably the fault lays on him as well. But I think they drafted Anthony Richardson because of all of like his attributes, right? He can run. He's absolutely massive. And he can throw the ball like the whole length of the field. And I think like I don't watch a lot of Colts games, but I watch Red Zone and it goes back and forth, and so a lot of the time it's only showing the big plays, so maybe my view's a little skewed. But I think they should run the offense a little bit more similarly to when Joe Flacco's in quarterback, and mix in those big plays, because like Joe Flacco wasn't throwing bombs, but he's throwing check downs, or they were getting down the field. He just had a lot of turnover issues, a lot of interceptions in recent weeks, and a lot of fumbles. I think they need to simplify the game plan for Anthony Richardson, and then kind of let him naturally run, if he needs to, or set up a few deep shots. Not every single pass be a 50-yard touchdown pass. So you can't rely on that. Let's move into the fantasy recap.
Yep.
For week 10 of the NFL season. We'll go over Adam's matchup, then Lucas, or then my matchup, and then Lucas's.
Well, Spiritually Connected falls to 2-8. It's getting really bad now, depressing wise. I think first thing to note is you may mention, where's Breece Hall? He is gone. I traded him to Justin. Justin wanted him, and I feel like it was the right time to trade him, especially since I wasn't going anywhere with the team that I had now. I needed to pick up some new pieces. And Breece wasn't really playing like, a first, round pick, in my opinion. So I traded him for David Montgomery, Raheem Mostert, and Jaden Reed, who's on my bench, who was on a bye, unfortunately. That was, a little frustrating having to do that. But I felt like it was, I had to bite the bullet for the trade to get done. But lost with 95 points, not a great week. Just no one really outstanding besides Eagles defense. It's, I think the one thing I got to hope for is, David Montgomery and Raheem Mostert get opportunities. If, I don't want to prey on injuries, but like if either A-Chain or, Gibbs are out for a period of time, that's kind of really my only chance to really, go out and do something. But I got to win out if I want to make the playoffs. I'm not officially eliminated, but I got to win out. I play Z-Wit next week, which everyone's better than me. So, obviously I'm not feeling good about it. But it is what it is. It's a failed season, unfortunately, and it's kind of my last chance of trying to make a run. We will move on because I don't want to talk about my team anymore. It's very depressing. It's
Yeah, Adam, it's a sad season.
Yeah,
it's a
That's
sad
for
season,
sure.
but at least I
No,
can
two-time
benefit
champ.
my co-host with
We need to
still
regulate
running back.
the
So
scale.
Justin, I'll let you talk about you're winning now. You're winning now. You're complaining about
Well,
the
I've beat
streak,
two
but now
bad
you're
teams.
finally putting it together.
I've beat two bad teams. I beat you and I beat Ruben. So
Hey, that's all that matters, though.
But yes, I'm 5-5. Okay, I'm starting to like my team now. I traded for Brees, like you said. I'm a little nervous because I traded for Brees on the fact that he has the potential to boom, versus I felt like David Montgomery has a solid floor, but I found myself in a lot of weeks where I'm just seeing him with 12 points, 15 points, and on the my opponents, their running backs are putting up 20, 25, and I needed that ability for my running back to have that boom potential to help me win weeks, especially since I'm trying to make a playoff push. And essentially, it's a week by week game, and you either boom or you freaking bust. You either win
Hey,
or you
Justin,
lose.
I'm sorry, but I've seen that 12.3 plenty of times this year with Brees Hall. It really hasn't been like Derrick Henry.
He's had a few 20-point outings.
Yeah, he's had a few.
And so that's what I'm hoping. But the thing that frustrates me the most is they don't really get him the ball like a lot. At the end of last season, you think they'd be throwing the ball a ton because they had no quarterback. Aaron Rodgers was not there, and Brees Hall popped off at the end of last season and ended up being like a top 5, top 3 running back to close out the season, and that's why he was drafted, so highly on a running back standpoint this year. Whenever the Jets get down, they think Aaron Rodgers is the answer to all of their problems, but he's clearly not. Like, he can throw the ball 50 times, but I feel like they got to get the ball to Brees. They got to get him more involved in the run game. He's averaging near 5 yards a carry, but he's only getting 10 carries a game, or 12. They got to get him the ball more, see what he can do, and not just like on first down. I'd love to see him run the ball and not just go 3 straight passing plays. So we'll see. I also have Josh Downs, who I traded for last week. And with Anthony Richardson coming back, I'm kind of scared about that because I was hoping Joe Flacco, even though he was horrible, got a lot of passing yards. And when Josh Downs had Joe Flacco as his quarterback, had a very solid floor. He's putting up 15 to 20 points a week with Joe Flacco. He got 10 targets last week. I think he'll probably get he could get 10 targets with Anthony Richardson.
Touchdown in that game too. At one point.
Yeah, he dropped the touchdown. That was pretty frustrating. Ultimately, it didn't matter. Dropped the touchdown. So that could have been 20 plus points for Josh Downs. I think Josh Downs will probably still get a lot of targets with Anthony Richardson at quarterback. The question is, can Anthony Richardson put it on his chest and throw an accurate pass? So that remains to be seen. I will bring up, I'm looking to make a trade right now. And I need your guys' advice. Now, Adam, you're kind of out of the playoff race, not officially. So maybe you can be a little bit less biased versus Lucas. We're a little closer. So, try to be unbiased. I played Jack Stinson this week. And he has, as it stands, he has no RB2. because Chuba Hubbard is on bye week, as
Mhm.
well as Devin Singletary, and Isaiah Pacheco is most likely not going to play.
Mhm.
So he's probably going to have to pick someone up off the waiver wire who's probably projected like 5 points. Okay. His flex, Jawan Johnson. He's flexing the Saints tight end who hasn't, I don't think, scored above 10 points once all year, but hovering around that 2 to 5, 7 point range. And I need to win this week. We're both 5-5. I'm the 6th seed. Only 6 teams make the playoffs. He's a 7th seed. Now, he has agreed, or there's a trade proposal in my inbox that I give him Najee Harris
Mhm.
and Jalen Warren. So I've basically give him an RB2, and he probably plays Warren at the flex, or maybe he picks up someone off the waiver wire. But he has those 2 RBs to fill in. That gives him an additional expected 22 fantasy points. So it makes the matchup a lot closer in terms of projections, even though projections really don't mean anything. I have the ability to trade those 2 players for Chuba Hubbard. Okay? And because he realizes that if he doesn't win this week, he most likely will not. It's the same with me. Like, if I don't win, I most likely don't make playoffs. If he doesn't win, he most likely doesn't make playoffs. If you were me, would you make the deal?
Here's
It's
my
just for
proposition. Here's what I'm thinking.
Just for Chuba.
Here's what I'm thinking. You said your goal is to win this week, so you're going to give him a better chance for him to beat you this week.
Right, that's what I would be doing.
So you're kind of contradicting yourself here.
And
That
I'd probably just rather have Najee than Chuba the rest of the year anyways, because Jonathan Brooks is probably coming back.
I don't know. Chuba's been really good this year, and they just signed him to an extension, so I feel like he's going to be the RB1. Dude, he's apparently like one of the top 10 paid running backs right now in the league now because of that extension.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they gave him an extension. The biggest, and we'll get into this later, so maybe I'll be short, and we can talk about it in the forecast. But I played Jack this week, so you're right. I'd be giving him a better chance, but am I confident that with my lineup, I can still beat him?
Who's your flex?
Because-
Who's your flex this week then? If you get
Well, it depends. So if I give away Najee and Jalen Warren,
Yeah, let's say that.
I have DK Metcalf as my flex, or technically I'll say I have DK.
But DK's on bye.
No, this is last week's matchup.
Oh.
So I have DK, but he's coming back. Who knows if he'll play? Because I also have T Higgins as an option and Josh Downs.
Yeah, why couldn't you give me Puka instead of?
Because I'm dealing with the injuries. I have
There's so many.
my wide receivers are injured.
So many options.
So next week, I play Andrew, and
Next week, you said that we mean the week after.
like I'm playing Jack this week. I'd be giving him a better chance, and next week I'm dealing with a lot of bye weeks, so I feel like I just don't make the trade. Even though I'd love to have Chuba on my roster.
I wouldn't make the trade.
Yeah, so I'll kind of save that for the rest of that thought for the fantasy
I
forecast.
feel like
But we could.
playing pretty well too. So like I feel like
He just got a tough schedule going forward.
Hmm.
He plays the Ravens, who are the 9th best running defense. Then he plays Cleveland next week, who has the 7th best. And those are the 2 weeks that I need to win the most. But also, like, if I get Chuba next week, he plays Kansas City, who's coming off his bye, who's the number 1 ranked rushing defense. So I feel like I'm kind of screwed either way.
I wouldn't
can
look
move
into it that deeply, Justin. I think you just got to go with your gut.
Yeah.
All right. It is time to give Lucas his moment.
yeah.
You can talk about this week, Lucas, but you can also kind of talk about, how this fantasy season has been with this team, some of the highs and lows and some of the things you've experienced. Let's hear
So
it.
I'm currently on a bit of a cold streak. I was in first place by myself at 5-1, and I'm on a 1-3 kind of lull. I popped off, I think 2 weeks ago, but other than that, I've been putting up pretty middling numbers. But like, I feel like overall my team, I'm still like fine with where it's at. Except I had to start Danny Dimes this week at quarterback. I mean, he got rushing touchdowns, like 12 points, and like kill me. No one like. I mean, Devonta Smith is kind of streaky, but he can also just give me like 15, 20 points most of the time. So like, still fine riding with him. Devontae Adams just been like probably my biggest disappointment of anyone on my team because Bijan has been a monster. Like he kind of started out a little slow, but the past like 5 weeks, I think he's gone under like 20, like 22, and he got 29 this week. So Bijan and Mixon, I don't think he's gotten, other than when he got hurt, has gotten like less than like 15 points like any week. So like Bijan and Mixon is just like such a high floor and high ceiling duo. Then my receivers just kind of boom bust. Like Devontae Adams gets a lot of targets, but Jets are dysfunctional. Devonta Smith most of the time is pretty good, but just puts up the occasional big clunker. Hawkinson, I'm really excited about being back though. Like came back last week or 2 weeks ago, and we kind of eased him in, and then he had a good matchup this week, and I was like, oh, I also have Ferguson, who's been just a solid floor play for me all year, but I picked Hawkinson late in our draft, knowing I wanted the upside because he was like a top 3 guy last year. And then he got 8 catches, I think, this week, so like 8 or 9 catches, 15 fantasy points. I'm like, and that's not even getting the end zone yet.
Yeah, eight catches, 72 yards.
Yeah, if he's gonna get like around like 8 targets or so a game the rest of the season, like him, like no one else other than Jefferson is really like demanding high volume in that offense. So Hawkinson, I feel like, could be a really just high floor and could potentially pop off once he's fully unlocked. And obviously the Vikings are a good team. They're going to be slinging a lot in games that they're trying to make a playoff push for. So Hawkinson, I'm really excited about. Dobbins, slightly concerned because now that Gus Edwards came back, they split time, but still think Dobbins is fine. And then I have Brian Thomas on my bench, who until Lawrence comes back, I have no confidence in, but he was really getting me some good production early in the season when, Devonta Adams was hurt, Devonta Smith was concussed. I had points when I just didn't really know who to put in my lineup, but Brian Thomas at one point was like wide receiver 1. So I'm hoping that he can get going again for the fantasy playoffs because he could be a guy I can throw in. But overall, I have Geno Smith as a quarterback. He can just get me 15 points a week, whatever. I feel like I'm not loaded, but I feel pretty good about making the playoffs. I was kind of bummed. I was hoping maybe we could go on a big run, get first round bye, but if I can get in the playoffs, I'm content. At this point last year, I was just fighting to not get the punishment in our league. So overall, I feel like I'm in a pretty good spot. I would want to make a trade for a quarterback, but I feel like my team, I feel my team's is in a place where don't have great trade value for.
I got you. Live trade proposal to Lucas Daly. Drake May for Bijan Robinson, straight up. What do you think? Come on, do it, dude, do it.
And just you can throw in Josh Allen too, just for
yeah.
Yeah, that's a bit more fair.
Would you? Okay, let me ask you a question. And you can say no. Would you do Josh Allen and Breece Hall for Bijan and Geno?
I would strongly consider.
Okay, we'll have some talks post pod.
This discussion continued. You heard it here. Yeah. So this is what it's all about. All the live. This is raw. In the moment. Wasn't planned. This is what it's about, man. That's why I'm here.
That's why you're here. Well, speaking about fantasy football playoffs, I believe that's next on the docket. Adam, correct me if I'm wrong.
You're correct.
Okay. We wanted to do a little fantasy forecast. All right. We're in a 12-man league. 6 people make the playoffs. Number 1, number 2 seed get a bye. we wanted to kind of get an idea of who we think's going to remain in the playoffs, who might slide out. I guess I'll start. I'm at the 6th seed, 5-5. I play the other 5-5 team, Jack Stinson, as I mentioned earlier, and who I might make a trade with, but probably won't, just because I need the best opportunity to win this week. Because if I lose, I go to 5-6. He goes to 6-5. And Andrew Young is a team that I'm scared about, because Andrew Young's 4-6. He plays Ruben this week. I think he gets a win. So then, if we were to both be at 5-6, and then I play him next week. So then, if I lose that, if I go on a 2-game losing streak, I'm toast. And I think if Andrew makes the playoffs, his team could make a run for sure. Andrew's got a pretty easy schedule end of season. He plays Ruben. He's got a cakewalk when he plays me, and then he plays Jack. He plays Jack Stinson, and then he plays Z Witt. So not teams that really scare you
No one's
or
scared.
anything.
Okay, yeah.
Especially next week when he plays me, I have Josh Allen on a bye week, Breece Hall on a bye week, and T. Higgins on a bye. So it kind of limits my roster availability. I think, Lucas, how do you feel about your playoff chances?
This week I'm freaking terrified as I'm playing the monster that is Patrick Verani on an 8-game winning streak, which is crazy to me. He started out 0-2, but he is loaded at running back, and he has the Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow connection. Like, he can just at any given week just pop off. He has so many high upside players. So
Yeah,
I really need a win this week, because if I fall to 6-5, that just puts me right in that dirty middle. I have a 1-game lead on you, Stinny, Andrew, 2 games up. And I have a decent points advantage for tiebreakers for now, but I would say Verani probably has the best team. Jason has a really good team. Justice has had a solid team, but I feel like I'm pretty even with him, even though he beat me by 30 this week. Z-Wit has no points, but he's somehow also kind of good. It makes sense. So
he's literally been so he has the lowest points against. Whenever he plays the top team, Jason, he played, or Justice, whenever those two teams played him, they scored absolutely no points. And then Z-Wit popped off. But then he'll lose, he lost to me in the beginning of the season, and he'll lose to his 4 losses I think are to low tiered teams in our league. I'm so upset that he's in playoffs. He does not deserve to be there right now. I'd love to be.
Justin, you know who he plays next week, right?
He play next week. He plays.
Or this
he
week.
plays you.
This
He plays
upcoming
you.
week, he plays
He
me.
plays you.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a win for Zach.
Hey, kid. You're probably right, but we gotta test the theory.
So
bullshit or not?
Bad. Jalen Hurts been playing really well.
No, it's not that bad. I just think
has been a good guy all year. He just snapped Tyrone Tracy just as he started to pop off.
Well, didn't you drop him?
I was hoping nobody mentioned that.
Hey, Andrew. Now I'll say this: Andrew has a really good team, and I dropped Kareem Hunt, and now he has him, and that's helped him win a lot of weeks recently. I think the playoff bracket as it is right now, I think the only spot in jeopardy, and this is truthfully, okay, Adam, don't give me a hard time, is that 6th seed. I think me, Jack, and Andrew, I think those are the 3 possible suspects of making it. Vaughn's also 4-6 along with Andrew, but he's got a really tough schedule.
I don't really believe he's making a run.
Rest of season. I did a little win-loss chart Lucas, I think you're safe as long as I think you'll go 2-2 to finish the rest of the season. And I think as long as you do that, you'll make the playoffs. You'll be 8-6. I think you'll be chilling. Same thing for Zach. Now I would say Zach could fall out of playoffs, but he plays Adam, who I think he'll beat. He plays Ruben, who I think he'll beat. Then he plays me, which I surprisingly put myself down for a win that week. I think I'll beat him. And then I think he loses to Andrew. So I think he goes 2-2 as well, putting him at 8-6, which is a pretty comfortable spot. Jack has a pretty tough schedule to end the year. So, but I think Andrew, I think he goes 4-0 to end the season. He plays Ruben, me, Jack, and then Zach. And those, like, that's not scary. I think he goes 4-0, especially with his roster. And if he makes the playoffs as the 6th seed, he's definitely a team to look out for.
I don't want to play him first round. I really don't. But yeah, I would say, I mean, Verani, Justice, Jason, they have 7 or 8 wins. I think they're all very safe. And then Z is vulnerable because he doesn't have enough points for tiebreakers. And then, yeah, I think Stinny falls off. So I think, I want to say I'm safe. I'm hoping, if I fall off a cliff, I'm going to be pissed. So,
yeah. And that's where it just comes down to, like, sorry, go ahead, Lucas.
Oh, yeah, I think it comes down to, and I think Andrew could easily make a run. So I think it's going to, those like last 2 seeds will be a battle between you, Z, and Andrew.
Yeah, I think I play Jack, Andrew, Zach, then Troy. And so I've predicted myself to go 3-1 the rest of the season. And that's if I don't do this trade with Jack. I think, I obviously have more of a chance of winning this week if I don't give him 2 players to fill in his roster. But then Andrew, if I have him at 4-0, that puts us at the same record overall, I believe. And so it'll come down to that points for, which I think right now I have like 100-point advantage on him. So there's a good buffer, but we'll see.
We will. Anything's possible. It's a good fight.
We'll see. Adam, you've been a little quiet.
For my sanity, we need to move on. That was the most depressing.
Wait, do you not want to hear what I have you down for the rest of the season?
0-4. It's fine.
Yeah, you're right. I have you at 0-4.
Dude, I feel like we're talking about the NBA. I feel like we're talking about the NBA playoffs and I'm the Pistons. Like, this is brutal to listen to, dude. I'm so trash. I am nowhere near the playoffs. This conversation had nothing to do with me, which is fine because I suck at fantasy this year in this league, I would say.
Hey, but you have a chance to redeem yourself right now. And if we want to make it a little interesting, not like put money on it or anything, but just for bragging rights, we're about to do a fantasy redraft.
This is what we should do in the real league. I think it would be a great idea. I think to really spice things up this year, I think we just do an impromptu draft. We just redraft all the teams and we go from there. What do you guys think?
Here's the thing. I wouldn't mind doing a separate league like that. Like, okay, for those of you who suck, who have a terrible team, let's do a redraft and like give like maybe a little $5 buy-in. And see who wins the redraft league, like going from here on to the playoffs, whatever. But probably won't do it. So we're going to do this. We're going to do a fantasy redraft, just the 3 of us. And I'll keep track of the points, and we'll just see who has the most. Let's do most points scored, because we're not going to have matchups. Most points scored rest of season. Do we want to do rest of full season or just until fantasy playoffs?
I would say just the regular season, maybe the last couple of weeks.
Okay, so there's 4 weeks. 4 weeks left. We're going to do a fantasy redraft. We've already predetermined the draft order. I will be selecting first. Lucas will be second.
We could maybe add it up just for fantasy playoffs because some teams have buys still.
Lucas, this is why we have you on the podcast. You're wise. So yes, okay. We're going to do just fantasy playoffs. And We'll see who would win a theoretical redraft fantasy playoffs. Total points scored. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Justin, lead us off. You got the first pick.
Well, I gotta pull up a chart. One second.
Whoa.
I just
What
have
do
to look at the players. Like, what if I forget about somebody?
No.
You know?
I don't think so, kid. I don't think so.
Okay. Rest of
You gotta go off
season.
the top of your head. I think we gotta
Rest
go
of
off the
season.
top of your head because I think that'd be fair. And you know, you're looking at who actually has the most points. I think you got to go off your memory, see who's got the knowledge.
I'll take Jamar Chase.
Wow, yeah, that's who I was gonna pick. Honestly,
That's a good pick.
I'll take Jamar Chase.
That's a very good pick.
Shout out to the Patrick Virani, 8-2. As him as his player, I'm gonna go with Jamar Chase.
For the second pick, this is a tough one because there's a lot of interesting directions you could go here. But I am going to pick the boy CMC.
wow.
I think by the fantasy playoffs, especially, he's going to be like fully healthy, and the Niners are going to be desperate. They're going to need him doing everything he can. Anyone that actually picked him first overall, like, is very angry. But if you're a CMC owner and you're somehow been hanging in all season, you're also hyped up because even in a game where he didn't have efficiency, he still put up, I think, like 16, 17 fantasy points. So
yeah.
Well, for my first pick, I got 2 picks. We're doing a little snake draft. The first pick.
This is a good spot. This is a good spot to be.
I feel good about my 2 picks that are coming up. My first one, I got to go Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
And the number one running back in fantasy. He's been insane in this Ravens offense. You got to roll with King Henry. And then I'm going to take a receiver. I'm going to go running back receiver. Make sure I have both. I'm going to go Justin Jefferson. Oh, I cannot spell.
Justin.
that was my
Jefferson.
I will
I'm
say.
going to go with Justin Jefferson.
Okay,
We got Derrick
Jay
Henry,
Jettas.
Justin Jefferson, first 2 picks. I mean, this was a real fantasy draft. I mean, jeez. That'd be crazy.
Jefferson just has proved he's the best receiver in football. Like, he's making Sam Darnold look good.
All right, Lucas, you're on the clock.
This might be a little bit of bias towards my own team, but he's also been a dog, especially the past like 5 weeks. To infinity and Bijan.
Yep, that's a good pick.
Dude, I was thinking Patriots, and I thought you were going to pick Ramondre Stevenson. I was like, are you crazy right now? That would have been a ridiculous pick.
Douglas.
Oh, boy.
All right. Considering we're doing this for only fantasy playoffs. Considering it's just that, right? Well, Adam, why are you shaking your head?
I think if we're including the playoffs, it should include regular season too.
But what if there's bye weeks? Can you pick up a waiver wire ad, and we do that off pod? That's fair. Like what? Like, you know what I mean?
I guess.
So what do we want to do?
No, it's fine. I don't think there's that many buys. Like, it's only like this week.
Well, like Jamar Chase has a bye next week. Bijan has a bye. Derrick Henry has a bye.
All right. Playoffs
Yeah.
only.
I mean, at the end of this draft, we can see like if we have an equal amount of players with a bye, then we can do the whole thing. But
Or we
if
could
not,
just start. We could just start with the week that doesn't have the bye.
Well, that's week 4. That's playoffs.
There's a bye on week 13.
No week 13, but there is a bye week 14.
Yeah.
Derrick
What's a bye
Henry.
week 14. What the heck? Well, all right. Never
That's
mind.
why playoffs start in bye week in week 15 to avoid this whole issue.
All right. Playoffs. Are you looking at strength of schedule and shit on the playoffs, or what's going on here, you cheeser?
No, I'm not looking at straight at the schedule. I can only see 3. I can only see 3 games ahead. So, I'm going to go with Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Dog.
Oh, I can't.
And this one might be a little bit of a stretch. I'm not sure how you guys are going to react. We were talking about him earlier. I'm going to go Nico Collins.
Wow. I was thinking about taking him anyways, so.
Yeah.
Just because he comes back this week. right? If we're talking about this, is why I asked the fantasy playoffs question. I had to clarify. I think he'll be hopefully healthy by then, and he was the wide receiver 1 when he got injured, or wide receiver 2 at least. I think he plays well end of season.
Lucas.
I feel like it's interesting. This has been a year where there's been more like stud. Like at the top, there's been actually like more running backs than receivers because Tyreek, CeeDee Lamb, kind of inconsistent. Speaking of receivers, because I need a receiver in this spot, and of the guys that have lived up to their draft type, relatively speaking, he's had kind of a different year than last year. I'm going to go with Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah. Great pick.
And less with less catches and more like 7 straight games with a touchdown and like that. Like I feel like he's a baller.
Man, you guys got some solid players up here. I don't even know who I'm going to take. No, I got one. My first pick of the third round, or the last pick of the third round, is going to be Garrett Wilson.
He's been questionable pick.
I think he's been good this year, and he's been one of the highest scorers, and I think he's been good with Rodgers, regardless of the Jets' performances, I guess. And then I'm gonna go with a guy that's just been really consistent this year. I think he's been kind of the biggest sleeper. Is Joe Mixon.
He's been my
solid
season.
All right, back to you.
Got to think about who's actually been good at football. I feel like I was thinking about taking a quarterback for a second, but I feel like since there's only 3 of us taking quarterback, that the top 3 guys, honestly, even like top 4 guys are all pretty dominant. So I am going to take a guy that I think, especially for fantasy playoffs, as long as he's healthy, give me AJ Brown, the Brown boys.
Wow, the Brown boys.
You better hope he's healthy.
That's a big question.
Gosh, dude, this is such a quick draft.
No.
There's
only 3 teams.
Okay. I'm going to go with Alvin Kamara. I'm going to do Big Al. He's been pretty good this season. He's on a crappy team, but we're doing PPR scoring, obviously. And whether they're up in the game, which is rare, or they're down in the game, he's going to be involved. I just hope he can stay healthy, I guess. He's kind of been dealing with hip and rib injuries the entire season. So we will see how he does on that front. And then wide receiver or flex or tight end or quarterback. My gosh. I don't even know who's out there. I think I just want to get a piece of a good offense. And I'm going to go with Jahmyr Gibbs. I just like him. I know.
You say Jahmyr Gibbs?
Yeah.
In terms of he's your running back, you can make the case just for a pure running standpoint. He's
I spell it right.
Jahmyr the best. Gibbs? Maybe at least the most explosive. It's crazy the production. I feel like I never see him average less than 5.5 yards per carry in the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's good. I just hope. I was disappointed in him last week against the Texans. Didn't really do a whole lot, but he's got explosive plays. He's known to boom. That's what we're going for. Going all boom or bust. So that's my pick.
Speaking of teams with good offenses, even though it's more of a cheeky good offense. I feel like ever since Rashee Rice passed away, just making Adam even feel even worse. I'm gonna go with who I think will be the top tight end the rest of the season. Travis Kelce.
Okay.
That's a good pick. Maybe I should have gone tight end there just because there's obviously so many players available because it's a 3-person draft. Only 21 players are going to be selected. That's a good pick. I like that.
Okay. Well, there's a tight end I want to get. And Justin, I'm sorry. George Kittle.
That's okay.
Gotta get Kittle on the squad.
He's yeah.
been good.
I love me some Kittle. That's for sure.
Been number one tight end this season. It's past Brock Bowers, and I think George will perform. So the decision is: do I rip a flex or do I just grab the first quarterback? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go with Lamar Jackson. We got the Lamar and Derrick Henry stack. Every touchdown is coming. Every Baltimore touchdown is coming to my team.
Not a bad stack. I'm gonna get a stack no matter what with my QBs. So just whether or not. Well, there's 2 QBs that I want, and I have both of the players. So the stack's gonna happen. It's just gonna be what stack am I gonna go with? Derek Carr, yes sir. Book it.
Not submitting. We're not submitting. That's not. Drake. That's good. That was good.
Come on, you gotta do it, Lucas. For the. Can you allow Lucas to put Drake May in his flex if he chooses him?
Super flex.
Yeah.
No. If you want Drake May, if you want Drake May in your flex spot, you can
now
have
decided that it's a super flex league.
I still think
it's a super flex league, not Justin.
No, it's not.
I think I can still get someone else.
It's got Jahmyr Gibbs there.
You know, just thinking about all the teams, I think I'm kind of struggling a little bit because, like, I was thinking about CD. I just don't know what he's going to do the rest of the season. Now I'm going off the dome. I'm not looking at anything right now. Like quarterback, all of them, all top guys are really good. So, who are some good? I've been thinking about Achane maybe a little bit, but I feel like a guy that's actually really popped off, and this would be another guy that's going to be fighting for a playoff spot. Give me Drake London.
The London. All right.
That's a good pick.
Justin, you can make your final 2 picks.
Well, I would say it's an unfair advantage, I guess, in this situation to have the first pick because I'll fill my roster before any of you. But considering you guys both have already picked tight ends, it doesn't really matter. I think tight end's so tough because, there's not really any crazy tight end. I should have just gone Kelce over Gibbs, honestly. Can we delete and just start back over? I think I'm in between 2 players. What are you doing? Yeah, okay. I'm in between 2 players. I'm in between TJ Hawkinson and Trey McBride. Okay. Yeah, we can.
No, you took too much time. You ought to drafted Cooper Rush and Noah Gray. All right, Lucas.
All right. Shut your mouth. Okay, I think I'm gonna go with. I really want the Jamar Joe Burrow stack, but I think I'm gonna go the Jalen Hurts Saquon Barkley stack because I think Jamar right? If he plays well, yes, Joe Burrow's playing well, but Saquon Barkley, his rushing touchdowns get taken away from freaking Jalen Hurts. So I want an action of that. I want to back up that. I want to make that the stack to get all the rushing touchdowns for the Eagles. So I'm gonna go Jalen Hurts, and then I'm gonna do tight end of I'll do Trey McBride for the tight end.
He's a dog.
Lucas, do you go Brock Purdy here, and you got the Christian McCaffrey Purdy stack?
I wanted the
I think he's got to go full Falcon and do Kirk Cousins for the Bijan and Drake London stack.
I really wanted the Hurts AJ Brown stack, actually. But now I am torn between Burrow and Jane Daniels. But I don't know. Daniels has like kind of been a little off his game, but I still feel like the rushing upside and just rookies are he's a really fun player to watch. So I will go Jaden Daniels.
You're gonna go Jane Daniels. I'm
That
surprised
works
you didn't go-
because now if Joe Burrow plays well, it won't necessarily hurt me. So I'm fine
I'm
with that.
surprised you didn't go Josh Allen, Lucas.
That is true. I kind of forgot about him for a second.
Well, the pick is in. The pick is in.
I had a feeling.
I want
had a
Jaden Daniels
feeling.
anyways, though. I
I'm like,
just took
Jaden
the more
Daniels, you
fun
haven't even
pick.
said Josh Allen yet.
I
All right,
had
Hunter,
my
close it
my
out.
head.
The
And
last
then, like,
pick.
Burrow made me forget.
I'm gonna do CeeDee Lamb. I think even though the quarterback situation is not there, he's still a top 10 receiver in my opinion. So I'm gonna rip CeeDee Lamb that's a pretty solid flex. All right. Those are the teams.
Take
Who
a
did we?
picture.
Is there anyone we like glaringly didn't draft? Now that we're looking at it,
I did. I pulled up for later, like the top scoring players, so we can like look over those.
Top
no
scoring players ever.
might be one.
Like Kyron Williams, Chuba, that's for flexes.
Terry
Scary
McLaurin, James Conner.
Reese.
Joe Mixon's
we
only
pretty
down
much-
there because of
Because he missed 3 games. He's still
he missed
that high.
time.
Kittle's up here.
George.
I mean, we hit the mark with most of our picks, I would say.
Yeah, I don't think we left any glaring
Malik
people off.
Neighbors could have been good. Yeah.
I like it.
I think
We're smart people.
We're smart.
All right.
Wait, did
I
you
have that
save?
doc saved,
Did you have a picture of that Excel chat or what?
I'll save it to my
Can
computer.
you just take a picture of
Yeah,
it
I'll
and send
send
it
it
in
to you.
our in the group chat with the 3 of us.
I will. But,
Well,
and we will
Hell yeah.
let you know in a
Thank
couple
you.
months if you want that.
yes, we will. It will be like 2.5 months out. But thank you, Lucas, for that idea.
That's fun.
For the mock draft idea. Always fun to mix things up. I believe next is the Pick'em,
Yes, sir.
which I'm slowly wanting to just get rid of because I lose every week. But
well, hey, I'll take
between
it. This has gotten better and better each week. I'm 3-0-2 against Justin. At least I have something to be excited about. So, all right.
and we'll
we have our
let
special guest.
we'll let Lucas take this off.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Wait.
So
I need
You gotta click in.
Here we go.
we got an absolute banger game to start us off. Washington, Philly. Take the over.
Wait a second. Pull up your Excel. Well, no, it doesn't matter. We'll
Why?
ignore it.
Why?
I was gonna say if we have equal amount of bye weeks, we could just do it, but it doesn't matter. Just
Well, we can look at it. We can look at it later.
okay.
Decide.
We can determine off pod
Yeah.
what we decide on,
Some post pod deliberation.
and then we'll update you on the next episode of what we determined.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, Lucas. I just got excited for a second, so you can take it away.
You know what? I don't want to extinguish any excitement, but I do say this game, especially because they have pretty much the same record, and same division, two teams playing lights out, two quarterbacks playing lights out, electric receivers, some pretty damn good running backs as well. I mean, Brian Robinson kind of banged up, but hopefully he comes back for this game. But yeah, what are you guys' picks?
You choose who picks first, and then you can alternate.
And we're gonna alternate.
You know what? I'm gonna let Justin start off his redemption arc with his first pick.
I got the Eagles in this one. At home, Eagles are good. Commanders are good too. I hope it's a really fun game, but I'm gonna go with the Eagles. I got a lot of stake, man. I got Jalen Hurts now and Saquon Barkley in my redraft league. I need them to do well.
I'm gonna go Philadelphia as well. I think.
Dude, stop, bro. Be different for once, man.
Dude, this is who I picked before off pod. I pick I pick it off pod, and then that's my team.
I agree. I do the same.
So I'm rolling with Philly. I think it's really even matchup. It's gonna be a fun Thursday night. It's not one of those shitter ones with New Orleans in there. I think Philadelphia at home, I think, is an advantage, and I think they're just a more experienced team. So I'm gonna go with Philadelphia.
I don't think Philly hasn't lost since their bye week, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, they've really
they had an early one too. They had bye week 5, so they've been looking good. I mean, they got AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, and their defense is playing really well. So yeah, both of us got the Eagles.
Next one, be curious to see where this goes with new offensive coordinator for the Bears. Packers coming off their bye, right?
Yeah. Yes, Packers were on a bye.
Yes, sir.
Packers have overall been had a pretty good season, and Bears are kind of just spiraling. So, what do y'all think?
I think I'm gonna go with Green Bay. I've been liking Green Bay this year. I mean, they're in the division with the Vikings and the Lions, which makes it really tough for them. But the Bears are the worst team in that division, so. And especially with them firing their OC, I think the Packers are going to win this game.
I got the Packers as well. 2 of their 3 losses are to the Vikings and the Lions. I think they lost to the Eagles in week 1. So those are 3 good losses, as good as a loss can be. So yeah, I got the Packers in this one.
Next one, I haven't looked at the full schedule yet, but if I were to guess, this might be the biggest spread of the week, especially because I think Mac Jones is playing.
Dude, the Lions are minus 1,000.
I just noticed that.
minus 1,000, dude. And the Jaguars are plus 600. Dude, that's crazy. I think this might be the biggest spread we've seen all year.
I mean, I'm not surprised, honestly.
The line, I'll pull it up really quick. Is we got the Lions are favored by 13.5. It's minus 2.
So you're seeing if they're going to beat them by 2 touchdowns. I'd take the Lions with the points. Honestly, I guess that gives away my pick, but yeah, I got the Lions in this one. They're playing the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are probably playing Mac Jones again. They should, at home, if they don't win this, that's a red flag. It's a red flag if they don't win this.
Yeah, I'm going with Detroit as well. I mean, this is the biggest no-brainer, I think, of the year. They should be winning this one easily. I think 50 points is coming for the Lions. All right.
Yeah, minus 1,000 is crazy.
Next, got another game. Not quite as lopsided, but I would say pretty similar. Got opposite records going. So what are the picks?
Yeah, I mean, this is a similar situation. I think it's a bit closer just because Minnesota is not as good. They're still really good, though, but there's not the Lions. And they're playing away while Detroit's at home. But I still think Minnesota is going to win. I just can't pick the Titans.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I really wanted to pick the Titans.
Oh, yeah, sure you did.
I swear. Like, I actually did. Because I mean, they lost. Who did they lose to last week? They lost to the Packers. No,
Packers were on the
Packers
bye.
on a bye week. I don't know. They lost to someone last week. They lost the Chargers. They
Well,
lost
they
to the
lose
Chargers
most
last
weeks,
week.
honestly, so it could be a
I
lot
mean,
of
they're
teams.
2-7. They lost to the Chargers last week. But like their offense has been. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just Calvin Ridley is the only person good on the team right now. He's been good past few
Holland
weeks.
was good.
They have.
The Titans played the Chargers, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I said that.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. That was. I'm sorry. That was a bit rude. But
Yeah, you suck.
I want to pick the Titans. Apparently, I think the Titans have like the stats wise the best in terms of yardage, pass defense, and rushing yard defense. That's why I wanted to pick them. But I mean, it's the Titans, so I'm going to go with the Vikings. Long story short.
Long story.
This one on paper, if you just look at the records, it's like two crappy teams, but I still feel like this one, there's a clear favorite, unless you guys think differently.
Justin, do it.
No, I'm not going to do it. I think the Dolphins are coming off an impressive win against the Rams. I got the Dolphins in this one.
Yeah, Tua's back. The Dolphins are going to hit their stride again at home against the Raiders, who are a bottom barrel team. I got to go with Miami.
If you were a Devon Achane owner, you were very happy, I think, this week.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Game of the week. My boys coming off a win. Even though I still don't really want the Patriots to win this game, I want us to get a high draft pick, but I think this could be a fun one. I hope it's a fun one.
I think it's going to be a fun one, maybe. I think it can be, but I think the Rams are going to be the victors in this one. I think they're just more complete team than the Patriots. I think they did have a tough week against the Dolphins, but I think those teams are pretty even. While I think the Patriots are just just a step below. I don't think the Patriots are bottom barrel, but I think they're in between. But I do think the Rams are better. They're going to win.
Yeah, I got the Rams as well. Sorry, Lucas. I think the Rams are just better, and they need to win. Going forward at 4-5 in the NFC West.
Tough division.
Great. I mean, it's a good offense too. So I got the Rams.
We can't stop Puka and Cup. Like Christian Gonzalez might shadow one of them, but honestly, I don't even think we should do that because then like the other one will just light us up. So
yeah.
Another ugly game. This might be the ugliest game of the week. Honestly, this could be a make or break though for you guys.
I have a feeling it's going to be a make or break between the two of us, and I have to pick first, which makes it even more pressure. But like we said, I made the picks before the podcast, and I have the Cleveland Browns. I got the Cleveland Browns win this game. Jameis Winston, come on, do it for me. The players who play Pick'em on ESPN, it says 31% have picked Cleveland and 69% have picked the Saints. But the betting lines, they're both minus 110. So I think it's going to be a little bit more even than the people think on the app, at least.
Yeah. And the spread's -1 towards the Saints. So that's the closest line of the week.
Yeah. Helps them that they're, in New Orleans. They're coming off a win last week against the Falcons. So an impressive one. They seem amped with their new head coach, but I don't know. I'm riding with Jameis. I hope that their defense is a little bit better than the Falcons. I mean, the Falcons have not the best defense, so I'm gonna go with the Browns in this one.
Should I just pick Justin's teams for the rest of the season so we tie for the rest out and I win?
See, that would be pretty smart.
It would
but the odds of that you picking every team the same are not necessary. I mean, you could do for half of it because you have to pick first in the other half. So,
well,
you do you.
Luck. I got New Orleans. I got the Saints.
And you know what that means? You know what that means?
Huh?
The Saints are gonna since we deferred, or differed.
The Saints are gonna win.
Saints are gonna win. I mean, it's set in stone. Book it. If you have money
No,
that
it's
you're
because
willing
I
to bet,
picked them.
if you
Because I
have if
picked
you have
them,
money that you're willing to bet,
I get them
okay.
right. So
Now
that's
betting
why.
betting
So
is a very dangerous sport.
I'm gonna
But
go
if you have
New
money that you're
Orleans.
willing to bet,
Their
I
car is
need
back. They got home field advantage. I think this is Kamara's opportunity for a 3-touchdown game. Book it. Saints coming home with the dub.
okay.
There are some good divisional games on the docket this week. You got 7-3 Ravens, 7-2 Steelers. I don't believe they've played yet this year.
No, this is
So-
actually this is the Steelers' first divisional game of the entire year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which
And
might
I
be
think
part of why the
that's
Steelers are
why
so good, but-
their record is so deceiving. Like they're a good team. Like the Steelers are always in the mix. They always make the playoffs somehow. They're not 7-2. They're going to get tested by the Ravens. They're going to fail that test. I'm going to go with Baltimore. Baltimore just looks unstoppable right now with Derrick Henry and Lamar. I mean, we say the same thing every week, but I'm riding with Baltimore.
Yeah, I'm riding with Baltimore too. I wanted to pick the Steelers. They're at home, coming off an impressive win against Washington, but Baltimore's too good to pass on. So I got to go Baltimore here.
Another ugly. These games are either like really exciting or really ugly. It feels like the freaking two just kind of in limbo, middling teams in this one. This could be a make or break as well.
Justin.
I got the Jets. In this one, especially now with Anthony Richardson at quarterback. I mean, who knows? The Jets are going to jet. They're like the Bears. They have a terrible franchise. Always unlucky, always misfortune. I'm hoping that the Jets can have a better defensive performance than they did last week against the Cardinals. I think it helps that Anthony Richardson's the quarterback in this matchup for the Jets. So I got the Jets here.
Yeah, I got the Jets as well. I think they're good at home. I mean, we saw against Houston a couple weeks ago, and I think the Colts are just, at a weird spot right now. They can't even decide their quarterback. They got Pittman, probably going to be out again, whatever, sit on my bench. I'm going to roll with the Jets. It's been a tough season for them, but I think they're, seeing better times right now.
What's really sad is that the Jets had, I don't really care because I'm not a fan, but the Jets coming into the season had very high expectations.
Yeah.
Right. And then they get Devontae Adams, so they have even higher expectations. They have a worse record than the Colts, who have gone back and forth between quarterbacks. I don't even know how this team's won 4 games. I mean, it's probably on the backs of Jonathan Taylor's missed time. Yet
1-3 since they fired Saleh and got Adams.
Yeah, it's not the best look for the Jets right now, but we both have them winning. So if Adam picks them, they're probably going to win. So there we go.
All right, next we got Falcons coming off a very tough loss. I am in a pick'em league where you rank the teams by how much you think they're going to win. So it's like your most confident 16, least confident 1. And I did 16 Falcons. I was like, I kind of want to have like a team not everyone's going to pick for their top pick of the week. And then they lost to the Saints. So
now, Lucas, that's pretty interesting because I think maybe going forward I might just forfeit the regular pick'em and maybe we start something new. Maybe we start something new to spice things up. Depending how this week's, if I'm down 4-0, I think we might as well spice it up, and then we have to rank it. We can pick our winner here and kind of off pod rank how we feel about each matchup. I think that could be fun. Maybe we do it for 1 week, test it out.
Honestly, I really like because you not only are picking teams, but it's like if you, let's say, pick like I lost 16 points because the Falcons lost, and not just I had a crappy week last week because of that. So you have to kind of go for like upside plays too. It might pick an upset that you might not even be that confident in just so you can get more points. So
yeah, and I mean, several weeks we've had it come down to 1 game in our pick'em. We agree most of the time on who's going to win these games.
It is
and it
true.
comes down to one. And it came down like last week. It came down to New York versus Carolina. That's no fun. I mean, come on. So
I mean, it's fun when you're winning. So,
it could be interesting. Could be interesting.
all right,
We'll see. We'll see if the winner.
Well, this might be a different one, Justin.
Yeah, could be.
And I'm up, right?
You're picking first too, so.
Okay. I'm rolling with Atlanta. I like Atlanta, man. I know this game's in Denver, and Denver's been pretty solid this year, but I just gotta trust in Big Kirko. I think Big Kirko. We've had a love-hate relationship back in the day. It's definitely much love now. Ryan with Kirko.
Yep, I'm gonna go with the Denver Broncos. At home, they should have beat the Chiefs last week. And the Chiefs have a good defense as well. I like in terms of playing against them. I think the Atlanta Falcons defense is pretty poor, and the Denver Broncos defense is pretty good, especially with Pat Surtain. I think you could give Kirk and others a few problems. For fantasy purposes, I hope Bijan has a crazy game, but Denver Broncos. I'm going to go with them. I'm going to go with the Broncos.
Ooh, another divisional.
I am hoping, for everyone's sake, I mean, except for Adam, he doesn't really care about our San Francisco teams, but the Niners lose this game, like, just can't, just, like, bench the team, like, don't get anyone else injured, because it's not worth it. But this is a must
win game.
Yeah.
Lots, and, like, this is, like
Rumor
you said,
says Justin's picking the Seahawks.
Right. A lot of divisional matchups this week. A lot of divisional matchups coming up in general for every team, right? Like the Steelers have a ton of divisional matchups coming up. Niners have a lot. End of season is typically when you play a lot of your divisional opponents too, because you play them twice. So you play them a little bit in the beginning, a little bit at the end, with playoff races coming down to it. I'm going to go with the 49ers. I've said this on every podcast. I'll never pick against them. I don't care, Lucas, if they lose this game and they end up benching everybody. I'm always going to pick the Niners. Niners are my pick this week.
That means you got to put the Niners at the top on the ranking every week too, right?
Not necessarily.
Now we're switching up.
I can pick them to win. That doesn't mean in this matchup, sure. If we were doing it this week, I'd put them at 16. I'm pretty confident. But not every week you can be like, oh yes, 100%, hands down. So, like if we have Lions versus Jacksonville, you really think I'm going to put the Niners ahead of them? Come on, that'd be stupid. I'd be giving you a free 16-pointer. That's no good.
Yeah, but that's the confidence you're never going to go against them.
I guess.
All right, what's your pick, Adam?
Yeah, I'm going Niners as well. They got
Dude, be different, man. Come on, you're not a Niners fan.
Bro,
pick the Seahawks.
I'm not picking the Seahawks in this matchup. The Niners are going to win this game. I mean, Jake Moody could lose it for them, but who knows?
Yeah, you never know.
Never know.
Ooh,
now,
this is a banger.
For all football fans, we know who everyone in the world is cheering to win. This is like the anti-Vaughn podcast, honestly. Like, we got Vaughn as the first guest in the pod, and like he's big. You've got the full Chiefs sweatshirt, everything going, and then this, I feel like all we have said is like shit about the Chiefs. So
yeah,
but this
they should not be 9-0. I mean, come on, but they are defending champs.
Chiefs Bills is like some of the best football I've watched in the past few years. So I'm very excited for this game.
All right, Justin, you're first, right?
You're first.
I knew that.
But it doesn't matter because I've already made my pick.
Well, I'm gonna be the villain here. I'm picking the Chiefs.
Dude.
Yeah, it's.
Hey, I mean, I'm okay with that.
I want the Bills to win. Don't get me wrong, but like I just have a feel. It's just the Chiefs, man. There is something's going on. I don't know what it is, but I'm going with the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs pull this one off.
At the end of the day, it comes down to, like you said with my Niners, it's who you want to win, Adam. Sometimes you just got to make the pick of who you want to win. I'm going to go the Buffalo Bills here. I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs win because they are the Chiefs. They always find a way. The refs love the Chiefs, so they'll probably give them the win. They'll probably, make a coin. It'll probably go to overtime. The coin will be heads on both sides. The Chiefs will be able to call it. It'll be heads, and they'll go down and score a touchdown. But I got the Bills. I got the Bills in this one. I hope they can win. Yeah, got the Bills.
Well, we will find out. I mean, I'm the one that's gotten 3 wins, so maybe I got the right mind.
Right. I mean, like as we said before, I picked the Bills. Adam picked the Chiefs. Book it. Chiefs are winning. If you got money, place a bet. Place a bet. They're winning.
Oh boy.
The second to last game on the docket. This will be, I think, a pretty good Sunday night football. Must win for the Bengals and Chargers. You know, Jim Harbaugh has been working some pretty good magic out there. Herbert's been looking good. Dobbins has stayed healthy. Dobbins being healthy all year, some voodoo magic for being so for real. Not how it works. I have my fantasy team. But yeah, I think this will be another good game.
Justin?
That is right. I'm up. I got the Bengals. They need to win. I mean, they've been good as of late. They're just losing in shootouts. And coming down to it, I think the Bengals, would win a shootout with the Chargers. So I got the Bengals in this one.
I got Cincinnati as well. I think they're a better team. I think they need to come back badly, and I think they're peaking at the right time. I'm going Cincinnati.
And last, but
least,
not least, but like kind of whatever game. This would have been a great matchup at they made this like at the beginning of the year as a good game, but the way the season has shaken out, and if Nico comes back this week against the Cooper Rush and the boys,
yeah, I'm going Houston. Houston's just the better team. Tough loss last week, but the fact that they're toe to toe with the Lions just really tells you like what the level of the Texans are at right now, and with Nico Collins coming back, they're going to be looking really good. I'm going with Houston.
Yeah, I got the Texans as well. When you're in between Cooper Rush or Trey Lance as your starting quarterback going into Monday Night Football, you probably, against a solid defense, you probably don't have the best of chances. Luckily, it'll be a night game in Dallas, so there won't be any sunlight coming through the window. I don't know if you guys heard about that this past weekend, but if you've ever watched a Dallas football game, they typically play like afternoon games, maybe early morning, but regardless, the sun is up in those games, right? And when the sun comes to a certain point, there's these like windows at the top of the stadium, and the sun shines through. Have you ever seen that streak of light that comes through Dallas Cowboys Stadium? No?
Joe, that's the first I've heard about it.
Really, it's a big thing this week. It's a big thing this week on like in the sports world, because you see it and you don't think much of it, but it's like I don't know, it's like a beam of light. So if you were to be facing, if the light's at your back, right, and you're on offense and you snap the ball and you run, to catch it, you have to look back into the light. So it could be difficult because it could be glaring. So this weekend, Cooper Rush threw a pass to CeeDee Lamb in the end zone, and CeeDee Lamb couldn't see it. So like nobody caught the ball. And after the game, CeeDee Lamb was asked, "Do you think they should put curtains up on that window for day games?" Because for concerts and other and basketball games, if they have like, I think March Madness might be hosted there.
Yeah.
They put up curtains so that the sun does not go through the windows. And so he's like, I mean, obviously, I'd want like it would be way better to have curtains so that you don't have to deal with this beam of light affecting your vision. And Jerry Jones was asked about it. And he's been kind of bullied this week on social media and other platforms by these comments. But he's basically like, well, we might as well just tear down the whole stadium then, right? Like he just had some crazy comment. When
Yeah.
all you have to do, they've done it before, is put curtains up and like.
Yeah. But
And
it's an easy fix.
and this other podcast I listened to made a joke. It's like you could close the curtains for when it affects you,
Yeah.
but then when you're playing against the other team, open them back up and affect their vision. Like that could be a pretty. I mean, I don't know if it'd be allowed.
Just hire a curtain guy just to.
Yeah, or just get like there's automatic blinds or automatic
Justin,
curtains.
if that was your idea, if you told me that was your idea, I wouldn't have blinked an eye. It would.
That's
that's
pretty-
a
that's pretty-
cheesier technique right there.
That's pretty smart.
Yeah.
So
For that
This is a
reason,
night
you
game.
picked the Cowboys.
no, I already picked the Texans, but I just want to tell. I just want to tell the story.
So,
All right,
in
that is
conclusion,
pick 'em.
you guys have
we got
three
some more
different.
differing options this week.
You got three
to make
different
it a little
games.
More interesting.
Yeah. So
Better
you're
than the Germany
guaranteed to
game,
not
so.
tie because you have three different games, which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless there's a team that ties them.
They're not just
Which Browns Saints could tie. You never know.
Yeah, they are.
That would
They
be the
are
matchup.
minus 110 both sides. So
Well, that concludes the pick'em. We're already at an hour 46 minutes. The clock is rolling. I think we're past Vaughn's podcast, which is pretty surprising considering
you bring Beyond, the Yap is just gonna be strong.
Well, I think
you had a whole game
think-
show. I mean, that was crazy.
I think that yeah, you had a whole game show, so you'd think it would be longer. But also, you're right. The three of us, we can talk for hours about this stuff. Vaughn's a little bit more like bullet point when he talks. He's like Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, Chiefs are good. End of story. I'm like Chiefs dealing with penalties, doing all this, all that, whatever. Give a full on, essay about every single team.
I like how we're making the podcast longer by talking about how we made the podcast longer.
Hey, it's perfect. And if you made it this far, we appreciate you.
You're a real
We
one.
appreciate
You're a real one.
I guess do we want to wrap up with some NBA news? Kind of
Maybe
quick.
I think the one thing we should talk about that's crazy is the Cavaliers. It's pretty historic, I would say. Undefeated, 13-0, right?
13-0. They just beat the 76ers tonight, which normally would be another impressive win, but there was no Joel Embiid or Paul George.
Dude, I
the
drafted
Sixers
Joel
were up
Embiid
at halftime.
I drafted Joel Embiid in fantasy basketball, and it's been like the worst decision of my life, dude. It's so frustrating. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Everyone can tell. Big Celtics fan. Got my Jaylen Brown championship jersey on right now. But yeah, Cavs, kind of a sneaky, scary team right now. In the East right now, like
it's not even
no one else
man.
looks threatening. Like the Knicks are confident.
Dude, it's so frustrating. And it's like this every year. The West has so many good teams. And like the East, people at 500 or below 500 will make the playoffs or play-in.
Mm-hmm.
Every year I have to deal with the Lakers going to the play-in. But if they had the same record in the East, they'd be a top 6 team. And it's just like, it's whatever. I mean, it's how it works out. But yeah, like right now, I think there's only 2 or 3 teams actually above 500 in the East, versus like there's 10 teams in the West,
something like that. And then Cavs 13-0, and then other than that, like Ben Sherrill's hurt. The Magic are kind of struggling. Knicks are kind of like trying to get their team together. The Bucks,
the Heat just lost. Yeah, the Bucks are terrible right now. Losing a lot of close games. You got the Miami Heat. They just lost to the Pistons. But yeah,
should we look at the Lakers score right now? No, I'm kidding. No, we
could. We'll do a little.
Aren't you planning on watching it?
No, well, I never started it because we started the podcast, so like I don't have it paused. The Lakers are down by 8. 79-70, 79-71 right now. LeBron has 24. Anthony Davis only has 10.
Yeah.
And on the other side, dude, John Morant's not even playing. And we're losing by 8.
What, like
Jaren
did
Jackson
Desmond Bane
Jr.
have, like,
has
50?
18 points. This is crazy, dude.
That's how
It's
I felt when the
outrageous.
Celtics lost to the Hawks the other night without Trae Young because like Jalen Johnson put up a almost triple double.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
I mean, the Celtics
That's what you're gonna get with the NBA season. It's not
Smooth.
like
is a lot of
football.
highs and lows. I think the Celtics are still the clear favorite to win the championship.
Yeah, they're the best team.
They're dominant. I don't want them to win, obviously.
Don't jinx it, Lucas. Don't jinx
I'm,
it.
I-
Came onto the
happy. It's a
podcast
good
with
life. It's a
the
good life for him.
Celtics jersey on, and it has the championship trophy on the corner of it. So don't tell me you
It
jinxed
does
it.
indeed.
I went to the Hall of Fame for so I went to the NBA Hall of Fame over the summer and the Celtics store in Boston. So I just got the
Yeah, you had
whole
to get something.
experience. They got this jersey at the Celtics store. So like, yeah,
Well,
got
just
soak it all in.
all I'll say is Adam just had the Dodgers win. Okay, Lucas, you had the Celtics win. So I need both things to happen for me. It's like a snake draft, right? Adam had his, Lucas had his, then I need two. So I need the Lakers and I need the Niners.
That
I need the
benefits me
Lakers
too. That benefits me too.
I need the Lakers. I need the Lakers to win the championship. I need the Niners to win the Super Bowl. Giants, I mean, there's no chance. I don't really care.
Yeah,
Only if they're in playoffs, I'll pay attention. Then we'll snake back to Lucas. We'll have Drake May lead him to a championship. And then we'll go back to Adam. We'll give another Dodgers a championship because that's probably bound to happen again with Shohei, Mookie, Freddie Freeman. I mean, their roster is incredible. And they're probably going to get another Japanese pitcher, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
Roki Sasaki.
You think he'd
If
go
we
there
can get
too?
Roki Sasaki and then we need to extend Teoscar Hernandez, then we're looking good.
Yeah. Scary things ahead for the Dodgers and anyone who goes against them.
Yep.
Lucas, Lukey Poo.
Lululemon.
Thank you. Lululemon. Lulu Lucky. Thank you for joining the podcast.
Yes.
Um,
Thanks for coming on.
It's a pleasure having you. We're at an hour and 52 minutes. We're going strong. We'll take a quick break and then do another 2 hours.
No, but Lucas, I want to see any closing remarks that you have for the listeners. If you made this far, what's your final message for the people?
Final message is Patriots, Drake Mays to go! All right, see ya.